DreAllDay.com.
You're now tuned into the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day, to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there even when the success you've expected to achieve has yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, you get a huge dose of personal initiative. What is that? That is the go-getter energy that moves any one of us, including yourself, to go and make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. And then we put all this together into a series of frameworks, approaches, insights, strategies, and techniques, all under one unifying philosophy that is called work on your game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, and welcome to the show. And today's topic is checking your attitude and vibration. Checking your attitude and vibration. Now, before we get into this, let me tell you, I send out a daily motivation text every single day that I want you to receive. So here's what I need you to do so I can help you. All you got to do is text me at the following number, 305-384-6894. At that number every day, I'm going to send you my daily motivation text. This message is guaranteed to keep you focused, sharp, and on point every single day, no matter where you are, no matter who you are, no matter what you do. All you got to do is text me at that number right now. Let me know that you want it. Again, 305-384-6894. Now, this topic, checking your attitude and vibration, this is a sister episode to what I covered in episode 2023, the life-changing 48-hour experiment. That is one of my favorite episodes of this show. If you have not listened to episode 2023, the life-changing 48-hour experiment, you should listen to that one before you listen to this one, because it will help you understand what I'm going to cover here today. Or you can listen to this one, then listen to that one. Make sure you listen to 2023 and save that episode, because you're going to listen to that one over and over again. And by the way, for those of you who did listen to episode 2023, I have a question that has not been answered yet. Has anyone completed the 48-hour experiment? I've not heard from one single person who told me they have completed it. Now, a bunch of people reached out to me and told me that they started it. Nobody reached out and told me that they completed it. Has anyone completed the 48-hour experiment even one time since that episode came out? Now, this episode, I'm looking at my numbers here. That episode had to have come out almost 2 months ago. I haven't heard one person tell me that they completed the 48-hour experiment. So if anyone has completed it, please let me know. And let me know what great thing occurred during that 48 hours. Because if you complete it, something great is going to occur in that 48-hour period, guaranteed. So I want to know that you did it and what happened during that 48-hour window. I'm still waiting for the first person to tell me that they finished it. So we will continue to wait. Now, this topic, again, let's get right into it, because I don't really have to give you too much of a introduction to this one. The topic, once again, is checking your attitude and vibration. Number one, let's establish some baselines here. First of all is this. Every human being has a literal magnetic, energetic vibration. This is not a theory. This is not some woo-woo scientific thing. Every one of us as humans, we are literally vibrating. We are vibrating centers of energy. You stop vibrating, you're dead. We all have a energetic vibration at all times. If you are able to, any of you who knows science, you know, if you were to take a microscope and put it and take some cells, either from inside of your mouth or a skin graft of you, or even put your finger probably underneath a microscope that could get close enough and see, you would see that there's actual vibration happening. There's actual movement going on in your skin right now. Even if you look at your finger and it looks like it's not moving, like the skin doesn't look like it's moving at all, there's literal action going on at all times in all of us as human beings, in all areas of our body. We all have this magnetic, energetic vibration. And let me give you some examples that help you understand this, even if this idea has never occurred to you. Have you ever said something like you were vibing? You ever felt like you just had a vibe going and your energy was just right where you wanted it to be? Maybe you were relaxing. Maybe you were on vacation. Maybe you're listening to your favorite song. Maybe you just got a string of good things happening in your life and you're just feeling good. You ever had one of those moments? Maybe it comes and goes in like 30 seconds, but you ever had that feeling where the vibe just hits you and it's like you just feel perfect in that moment about everything that's going on in your life, even though everything in your life might not be perfect? Have you ever said something like a certain situation is a vibe. You know, I like going to this restaurant because it's just a vibe. It's just an energy in there. I like going to this bar. I like hanging out with these people, or I like being in this certain place because, or being with these individuals because it's just a vibe. You ever said something like that or heard something like that? We all have. Have you ever said something like you are on the same wavelength with another person? Maybe some of you are on the same wavelength as me, which is why you listen to the show. What does that mean when you're on the same wavelength with another person? We use it as a cliche, but these cliches are based in truth. And here's the fact. We are attracted to other people, whether that's an intimate attraction, whether it's a knowledge, a thinking attraction, an information attraction, whether it's an energetic attraction, whether it's a point of view attraction. It can be a perspective attraction. We are attracted to other people based on our energetic vibrations. And when those energetic vibrations match, i.e., my vibration is on the same wavelength as your vibration, we see things the same way. We get the same ideas. We agree on a certain point. If I say something and you agree with me, we're on the same wavelength on that point, if you actually agree, as long as you're not lying to me. That is what it means to be on the same wavelength as another person. Have you ever met somebody and you never knew them before? This is your first day meeting them and you just clicked with that individual? You ever meet somebody like that and your first conversation was supposed to be 5 minutes, but you end up talking to them for 2 hours, you just click with that individual on that first engagement? What is that? That is you and that person are on the same wavelength. You happen to come together at this moment, and as you get to talking with each other and engaging, you notice that the wavelength is exactly the same, and that's why the connection is so strong and is so fast, and it can get so deep so quickly. This is a real and tangible thing, folks. This is not some made up thing. This is not some hypothesis. Even if you never heard of it or thought about it before, it's a real thing that has always existed as human beings. Just not everybody is conscious of it. Not everybody is cognizant of it. It's a real and tangible thing that is invisible to the human eye, but is not invisible to all eyes. All right, the microscope's eyes can see this, but we all can feel it, and we all have felt it. Again, you ever been in the same, had a vibe with another person? You ever been on the same wavelength as another person? In sports, for example, two players could be on the same team and they can just make eye contact. You've heard many players talk about this. I remember Magic Johnson, when he played, he would talk about it because he was the point guard. He was the guy who always had the ball in his hands. And he would say, sometimes with my teammates, we just make eye contact and I already know what he's going to do. He knows what I'm going to do. And we make a great play and the crowd just thinks it's some kind of magic, literally, or pun intended. And he says, no, it's the wavelength. He didn't say that, but that's what it was. It's players being on the same wavelength. Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Joe Montana, and Jerry Rice back in the day. They would say that. I remember interviews hearing them say it. They would just look at each other, and Joe knew what Jerry was going to do. Jerry knew what Joe was going to do, and they didn't have to say anything. They just knew by eye contact. Draymond Green and Stephen Curry, they can make eye contact, and they know what the other guy's going to do without any verbal communication. That is being on the same wavelength. Often that can happen when people put a lot of time in together, but sometimes magically it happens with somebody that you just met for the first time and those two people connect and they just click. I remember connecting a couple people that I know for business purposes a couple months ago. And this was a guy that I know connecting with a female that I know. And they were connecting, again, this was strictly for business. And they were supposed to have like a 5-minute conversation. And the female came back to me and said, man, I really clicked with this guy. We were supposed to talk for 5 minutes, but we only talking for 45 minutes. That is two people being on the same wavelength immediately. So I want you to understand, I'm just establishing this as the baseline here for today's topic, is that all of us have a magnetic, energetic vibration coming out of us at all times. And when we come across someone or something else that is on that same wavelength, we are immediately attracted to it, and it is immediately attracted to us. So I want you to keep that in mind as we move on to point number 2. Today's topic, once again, is checking your attitude and vibration. Number 2, you attract your energy. Whatever your energy is, you are attracting that to you at all times. Now, I talked about the law of attraction in episode number, let me make sure I pull up that episode. I believe it was 1801, but let me make sure that I'm pulling up the right one. That was episode 1880. It wasn't the law of attraction, the law of association. The law of association and the law of attraction are sister laws, but let's talk about the law of association. It was episode 1880. You attract your energy, meaning whatever vibration you're on, whatever wavelength that you're on, however you are feeling about yourself, about your life, or period, whatever energy you are emanating, you will attract that to you. And any energy that is not in conjunction with your energy will slowly, sometimes quickly, be pushed away from you. The vibration that you are on attracts people to you, it attracts things to you, and it doesn't matter what that vibration is. If you have it, you attract it. In other words, if you have a negative vibration or you are vibrating on the same wavelength as something that you do not want or something that you would see as negative, if you're vibrating on that level, you will attract that thing to you even though you don't want it. You might consciously not want it, but energetically you're asking for it. You will draw that thing to you. That is the law of attraction. And I want you all to understand, I've said this many times, I'm going to say it a bunch of times more in the future. The law of attraction is not just what you're thinking about or even just how you're feeling. Because when you're thinking and feeling about something, usually the next step is you act on it. You will do something in order to draw that, to get that thing or to have that thing or to achieve that thing. So the law of attraction is just the starting point of the actions that you end up taking, and then you end up getting that result. So do not allow anyone to give you the bastardized version of the law of attraction, which is, you just think about something that's going to come, or they try to say, well, just because you think about something doesn't mean it's going to come. That's not how the law of attraction even works. So anybody who's saying that, they're bastardizing the point to try to make a bigger point, but it's failing because they're not even using it the right way. So understand, whatever energy you have, your thoughts and your feelings will have that, then your actions will subsequently follow. And it does not matter, again, what it is. It does not matter. You will attract positive or negative or neutral just as strongly on any level as long as you are vibrating at that level. It does not matter what it is. And the stronger and more consistent your vibration, the more actively and the more often you will attract it. I'm gonna repeat that statement because this right here should tell you a lot about your current state of affairs in your life right now. The stronger and more consistent your vibration, the more actively and more often you will attract certain things to you. So if you feel like right now in your life, there are certain things, certain situations, certain types of people, certain occurrences that keep happening that you don't actually want, let me tell you, it is not the luck of the draw. It is not somebody hating on you. It is not the world frowning upon you. It is you have some type of vibration that is actively and often attracting that thing to you. That's why it keeps happening. This is why the 48-hour experiment is so important. This is why episode 2023 is so important. And here's why. You must remain on the vibration of what you want long enough to let it start working for you. You have to stay on the vibration long enough that it can undo the effects of all the other shit you've been doing, and it can start actually bringing in the things that you want. This is the law of vibration. Even while it appears to not be working. And this is the crux right here. And this is where most people fail. Even when it appears to not be working, you must keep showing up and doing the work. Have you heard something like this phrase before? I say it every day at the introduction to this show. The mental toughness to keep showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there, even when the success you expected to achieve has yet to be achieved. I describe that as mental toughness. Mental toughness will help you get on the kind of vibration that you want to get on. Mental toughness is part of what keeps you thinking positively, even though you haven't yet gotten the positive results. But you have to keep thinking positive through the bullshit so that you can start getting the positive results. Most people aren't capable of doing that because they're trying to think positive, but they're not getting the positive results. So they look at what they can see with their eyes, not what they see with their third eye in their mind. And they say, well, I'm not getting the results that I want, even though I'm thinking positive. So clearly thinking positively doesn't work. So they quit, and then they end up failures. And they say, well, it's because I tried that positive thinking thing. It didn't work. Positive thinking always works. What happens is people don't work. They're not willing to work long enough to let the vibration clear out all the bullshit that you put there. And then you say positive thinking doesn't work. Yeah, it does work. It just takes a long time for it to undo the bullshit that you set up in the first place. This is why you have to stay on the vibration long enough to let it work for you. Even though it appears, again, it hasn't produced tangible results yet. This statement that I just made explains 90% of people's challenges when it comes to personal development, positive mental attitude, physical health, financial discipline, and any other aspect of life that requires healthy habits and a long-term outlook. Let me say that one more time. I want to make sure everybody, the people in the back heard me. The 48-hour experiment, as I explained in episode 2023, is so important because you must remain on a vibration long enough to let it start working for you, even though tangibly it appears to not be producing results. This explains 90% of challenges that you have right now with personal development, positive mental attitude, physical health, financial discipline, and any other aspect of life that requires healthy habits and a long-term outlook. Many people fail in the long term of life simply because they cannot stay on any vibration long enough to get the long-term result. The vibration of get up and go to the gym and work out. People can't stay healthy because they can't do that long enough to get the result. Taking care of your money the way that you're supposed to. People can't get there and stay there because they can't stay on a vibration long enough and be disciplined about it. Maintaining healthy relationships. People can't get there and stay there because they don't stay on a vibration long enough for it to actually work. Having a positive mental attitude. People can't get there not because they don't believe in a positive mental attitude, but simply because they can't stay on one long enough to get the result, because they're looking at it and they try it for 2 hours and it's not working yet. So then they quit and they go back to what they already know. And this is why most people stay exactly where they are for the majority of their lives. Most people become a certain type of person by around age 18 through 21, and they're the same person for the next 60 years, and then they die. Why? Not because they don't logically understand everything that I've said here today. It's simply because they do not emotionally accept it. Therefore, they will not stay on the vibration long enough to get the results. Period. Anyone will logically agree with the things that I've said here today and on this show, period. They will try it maybe for a day or two intermittently with a heavy dose of doubt while they're trying it. So they're doubting themselves while they're trying to do something that they claim they think is going to work. They already have killed themselves off with that. Then when it quote unquote doesn't work, they drop it and go back to the attitude they've had for the previous 10 years that they already know doesn't work. And then they live 60 more years and they die. Now I just described the life of most people. Just make sure I'm not describing your life. Point number 3. Today's topic, once again, is checking your attitude and vibration. Number 3, here's what you would do ideally. Okay, so I already told you how people mess it up. Here's what you do ideally. You need to have a practice, a system, a habit for getting yourself into your ideal vibration every single day. You need to have a routine, a ritual that gets you to your ideal vibration every single day. And maybe even throughout the day, something that you can do that will put you back into that ideal vibration just in case you slip out of it. This is why you hear so many people talking about morning routines. Most people talk anything about personal development, talk about having a morning routine. Anyone who talks about doing anything at the professional level consistently and doing it well talks about routine. I've been taking in a lot of material about marketing, a lot of marketing material. And I was watching a presentation of some guys talking about copywriting. And there was 2 guys on the stage and they were just talking about how they are writers and how they write copy. And copy is any material that is written with the intention to persuade, usually for some type of sale to be made, advertising, things like that. And one of the guys on the stage was just talking about, as a writer, he always had a routine for getting himself into his writing mindset. That he would walk around, he had a desk at his house, and he would walk around the desk a couple times before he actually sat down to get himself in his right frame of mind so he could do his best writing, so he could write copy for his clients and make his money. Because he said he saw his dog, anytime his dog would lay down, his dog would always walk around in a circle a couple times, then it would lay down. And he said, I started copying that to see if what the dog did could help me, and I started doing it and started working for me. Or he would say, I would put on my writer's hat. Literally a hat. So he would put on this hat if he was writing for this type of company. Then he put on a different hat if he was writing for a different type of company, and that worked for him. And the whole point is not that you have to walk around in circles like a dog, or that you have to change your hat in order to do your job, but it is that he has a routine. There's a ritual for him to do his best work, and he knows that routine works for him. This is why people talk about morning routines. This is why people do yoga, why people do meditation. This is why people walk or read or listen to certain music or exercise or whatever they do when they start the day. Anyone who talks about having a morning routine or any type of habit, why do people have morning routines? Why does it matter so much? We hear people talk about it, but nobody really explains why having that morning routine matters. Or if they do, they don't give this reason. Here's the reason. Because it puts you in a certain vibration. And when you know the vibration that you want to be in, and you know the ritual or the routine or the habit that can get you into that vibration, why would you not do it as often as possible? That's why the morning routine matters. This is why a night routine matters. This is why a middle of the day routine matters. Any kind of routine, it doesn't matter when you do it. People just use the morning as an example, but you can do a routine anytime. You can do a ritual anytime. If it gets you into the type of vibration that you want to be in, that helps you be the best version of yourself at the thing that you do that matters to you, why would you not do it? That's why the vibration matters. That's why the routine matters. It gets people into their ideal level of vibration. It gets them to their ideal attitude. This is why athletes have pregame routines. Everybody who's listening to me or watching me, everybody knows who LeBron James is, right? I don't know if he still does it now because I never see it at the beginning of the games, but LeBron, for many years, before the game, what would LeBron James always do? He would walk over to the scorer's table. He would get all that talcum powder, that chalk. He would put a bunch of it in his hand, and then he would do the routine where he would clap and he would open his arms, and the whole crowd, everybody would get to the game early just so they could see LeBron James do that, right? Before every game. That was a routine. What is that? That is a ritual that LeBron did that would get him into his proper vibration so he could go on the court and do what he did. Kevin Garnett, another NBA player who's a Hall of Famer, before games, what he would do is he would walk over to the basket, walk underneath the basket, wherever he was playing. He would smash his head into the basket stanchion. It's padded. He would smash his head into it a few times because that's just the kind of player that he was, just getting himself revved up for the game. And that was what worked for him. Neither one of these is right or wrong, but that's the pregame routine. Any of you who's an athlete, who has been an athlete, if you were good, you had a pregame routine. You had a way that you got ready every single time that got you into a certain vibration so that you could go out there and do what you physically knew how to do. Tony Robbins has talked about this, that before he goes out on stage and does a speaking gig, he has a certain routine and certain rituals that he follows that may change over time that gets him into his proper frame of mind and his proper vibration so he could go out and he could say the right words at the right time with the right energy that will help activate his audiences. And he's been doing it for a long time, so I think it works. Every consistent performer in any aspect of life has a routine in place that helps them reach their ideal vibration. And that's the main reason why they are so consistent. Not because of their talent, not because of luck, damn sure not because of luck. It is not even because of resources. It's because of the one thing they can control, which is none of those. It is the routine and the habits and the rituals that get them into that vibration. This is why it's so important for you to check your attitude and vibration at all times. Let's recap today's class, which is checking your attitude and vibration. Again, if you haven't listened to episode 2023, do so for your sake, not for me. Point number one, every human being is a literal magnetic, energetic vibration machine. So when you ever say it's a vibe or you're on the same wavelength as a person, all right, that is a real thing. It's a tangible thing. When you just click with a person, that is because you are on the same energetic vibration as that other person. There's a real intangible thing that's invisible to the human eye, but we have all felt it. Number two, you attract your energy. The vibration you are on attracts people and things to you. Doesn't matter if it's positive or negative. Doesn't matter if you want it or don't. If you're vibrating it, you will draw it to you. That's why the 48-hour experiment is so important, because you have to remain on a certain vibration for long enough for that vibration to start actually producing tangible results. Most people don't have the discipline to do that. This is why I haven't heard from anyone yet. It's been 2 months. I haven't heard from a single person who told me they completed that 48-hour experiment, because you have all those years of not doing it that it's really hard to get to it when you really need to. But if you keep practicing, one of you is actually going to come through and get that done. So I'm still waiting for the first person to tell me they completed the 48-hour experiment. 90% of people's challenges in life with personal development, mental health, physical, financial, any other aspect of life that requires healthy habits is simply because they cannot stick to one vibration long enough for the results to actually start showing. Then when it doesn't work, they say that the thing didn't work when the actual problem is they didn't work. Number three, here's what you would do ideally. Have a practice, a system, a routine, a ritual for getting yourself into your ideal vibration every day. This is why people have morning routines. This is why you hear people talk about yoga, meditation, taking a walk, listen to certain music, exercise, whatever they do to start the day, because it gets them into their ideal vibration. They do it over and over and over again. Why? Because it helps them. It works for them. That's why they do it over and over again. This is why athletes like LeBron do the chalk toss, and Kevin Garnett would bash his head into the stanchion. Tony Robbins would jump on a trampoline before he would do a speaking gig. He gets into a cold plunge when he wakes up in the morning, because it gets him into his ideal vibration that works for him. You need to know what the ideal vibration is that works for you, and you need to be doing it ritually every single day. In my book, The Mental Workbook, which you can see right over my left ear here if you're watching this on YouTube, that book right there will help you put those routines together and get them in place so that you are doing the same things the same way every time, which I talked about in episode, let me tell you what episode that was where I talked about that. That was episode number 2013. So 2013 and 2023, 2 episodes you should bookmark and listen to over and over again. The same things, the same way every time. Get you into the right vibration and get you the results that you want. If that's something that you want, then I think you should start following it. Send me a text, get my daily motivation every single day. Here's the number, 305-384-6894. Any of you who wants to get onto a live training call where I talk mindset and business every single week live, I do a training, I answer questions, we make sure everybody's challenges are handled. That is my Bulletproof Mastermind group coaching program. You want to be a part of it, go to workonyourgameuniversity.com/group or just go to workonyourgameuniversity.com. The link's down below. You can join that program now and be on our next training call this weekend. Work on your game. Dre all day.